All right. So once again, we have a bad boy update for the Quest 3 MetaQuest version 6.6 update. Let's take a look at it. Unfortunately, they do roll these things out. I haven't got it yet. So thankfully though, they do have a video to demonstrate. So let's get into it. So the highlights of this update is reducing pass-through distortion. It's kind of this weird wobbly kind of effect when you're looking through the pass-through mode. It's not the most fun. So it's great that they're fixing it. Background audio support and more. So again, I think a lot of this is to do with the ideology of making the Quest more of a device that works like the Vision Pro, but without the crazy price tag, without having to remortgage your house for the features, right? Version 6.6, we're reducing the amount of visual distortion in pass-through mode, as I spoke about a few months ago on MetaQuest 3. We put out a number of pass-through related improvements in the last few software updates, but this is the big one. And it will significantly improve the mixed reality experience, which is great, because that's kind of the big main feature of the Quest 3. Apart from the Quest 3 exclusive games, for instance, you probably could live with a Quest 2, you know, with the not minding the fidelity and so forth. But the big major leap is the pass-through and the kind of Vision Pro-like experience that you can have with the Quest 3, combined with the mixed reality. And we're also ensuring audio keeps playing after you minimize 2D apps, improving hand tracking by adding a new button on your wrist, quick access, system level features, and adjusting how parental supervision tools will work for parents and guardians. Okay, so again, I'm highlighting the kind of most salient points so that we're not just puffing the piece. As much as we appreciate the watch time, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching other places, I suppose it's the same thing whether you're watching on formerly Twitter, X, or Facebook, or wherever you're watching. Don't forget to do the follow or subscribe. I think everywhere else is called follow, so do the follow if you haven't already and you want more of this stuff. Otherwise, if you're on YouTube, do the subscribe thing. With version 6.6, we improved image quality even further, refining MetaQuest software to significantly reduce image distortion pass-through, so your hands and other objects look more natural in mixed reality. This improvement also reduces the warping effect around these objects while in motion. Now, we've got a YouTube video that demonstrates this, so I can't kind of say verbatim whether this is actually how it's going to look for you or not, or me, but let's take a look. And obviously, this is potentially going to be, well, it's going to be in the podcast as well, so I will narrate. There might be music playing. It's showing the first, it's very brief actually. First part of the video is showing a guy doing card tricks. At the top is a version 6.6 and the bottom is v65. That's the version I'm currently on my device. Again, they roll it out very slowly to make sure there's no drama. What I can notice already with version 6.6 is there's a little bit more color in the contrast, it looks like. The version 6.5 version looks more washed out. He's doing card flipping stuff, you know, like a card trick person, someone that's very good with their hands, very quick, very good with their hands, that's what she said. And it definitely looks much more cleaner. He's spreading out the cards in a line with his hand here, and now he's in a dining room and it looks very cleaner. It does look a lot cleaner. It's a very brief video, so you can check that out. I'll put a link if I remember. But yeah, it does look a lot more clean, a lot more color. The most noticeable thing is color. There's definitely less warping, the weird wobbly effect that you see with pass-through previously. So it looks good, looks impressive. Back to the article. I've got to give it a like. Let's give it a like, guys. Give this video a like as well if you can do that on the platform you're watching them, as we are now platform agnostic until a platform pays us otherwise to be so. So, continuing on. You may also notice that your virtual hands now align better with the image of your real-world hands in pass-through, making it more natural to interact with virtual objects and panels in mixed reality. We're rolling out these pass-through improvements gradually, as I mentioned a couple of times already now, to ensure there are no unforeseen issues, meaning that even if you have version 6.6, is very important, guys. Even if you have it installed, you might not see any changes for a little bit. Appreciate your patience. Don't look forward to getting this in everyone's hands. I think there's no pun intended here, as soon as possible. So that means that even if you see version 6.6 in your update, it's going to be like a point update. So it'll be a point update potentially after that before you get that feature. So be mindful of that. Once you don't see warping, I guess you'll know, because there was literally no warping in that video, practically. There was a little warping, but not as much. It's not nearly as crazy. I think what it's doing is it's reproducing the image as opposed to showing you through the image, if that makes sense, in a way. All right, we're running out these pass-through improvements. I've read that already. So now we're moving on to background audio. We're improving how background audio works for 2D apps on MetaQuest. Now you can launch a 2D app like the browser, play music or a video, and minimize the app without automatically pausing playback. Touching on this might be a separate thing we cover in the podcast as well, but I think that also means that's how they were going to fix the problem with Netflix app, or lack of. I don't know if it's either it's Netflix app or it's not very good or very optimized. But the idea is that you'd run it through the browser instead, and it's still running high quality and so forth as they update it and so forth. So that's the ideology. And then with this background audio still working, essentially it will be a bit more like the Vision Pro experience again without the price tag. So essentially you'll be able to kind of run a video and have other things going on in the background, essentially, like some music in this case, or a podcast, as they are giving an example of, while playing 18 holes of golf plus, whatever that is. Is that a good game? Let me know in the comments. Then we go into wrist buttons. Improving the hand tracking experience in version 6.6 are rolling out the new experimental feature that makes MetaQuest menus slightly more accessible. This feature enabled, you'll now see buttons on your wrists with the meta and menu icons. So essentially you like this, you just do like that, and then you just almost like you're having a reversed version of the Mass Effect experience where it's on your arm, but it's like this instead and inside. So that's pretty cool. It's got a little animation there. Seems simple enough. So instead of you doing like this with your hand, where you do like an OK sign and all that kind of stuff, and then you kind of pinch it and all that kind of business, you just turn your wrist over and just go at as my phone goes off with some fake person I've never heard of called Lydia. Who the hell is that? Who the hell's Martha? Like that. I don't know Martha. I've never been called Martha, not even on the weekend. Continuing on, because that's not what you guys are here for. They're about my phone scammers. So where were we? Add the corresponding buttons on your controllers. Tapping these wrist buttons will pop open or close the in-game or system level menus as my nose starts to leak. Been getting a bit sneezy today, even though it's not particularly cold. It's quite warm in the UK right now. Is it warm where you guys are at? You can use the meta button to bring up the main menu inside games and apps, so you can quickly and easily access features like casting and screenshots. Adjust your headset settings or jump between experiences. So that's pretty sweet. For this particular part of the update, again, not only is it rolling out as usual, but you also have to enable it within the experimental settings panel. This is something you have to do also for the laydown mode that was in the previous update. You have to go into experimental settings, otherwise nothing. So be mindful of that when you do updates. Sometimes you have to go into the experimental settings panel to turn the actual thing on. In my experience, I've never had any problems that I've been aware of using anything in the experimental settings. So if you're wondering if it's like safe or so forth, I have not experienced any adverse obvious effects testing anything out in the experimental area. So it's been good to me. I'm sure it'll be good to you too. Finally, parental supervision updates. Just because I know many of you are parents, many of you have kids all over the place from all different kinds of countries and so forth, and you might want to bring your headset with you so they can experience the pleasures of the flesh that is the Quest 3. So we're also making a few changes to the way our parental supervision features work on MetaQuest. Starting June 27th, tunes teens and children ages 10 to 12, age may vary by region of course, who are supervised by the same parent or guardian will automatically be able to see each other in the family center. So it'll be much more easier to track your kids to make sure they're not doing anything naughty with their VR. We'll say no more. Playing going by, I hope it's not picking up. So that is the Quest version 6.6 update, which is unfortunately, 6.6 update, which unfortunately I can't actually test right now or anything because they roll it out. This was on June the 4th. It's now the 6th at time of recording. So it'll be over the next week to 2 weeks. Have you got this already, guys? If you got it already, let us know how the features are. Is Passthrough much more clearer and cleaner? Can you do your card tricks with less warping? Does it look nicer? And are you able to get a more Vision Pro, Apple Vision Pro-like experience now, as they clearly seem to be updating it in such a way that you can multitask and kind of keep things pinned while running this thing and doing this thing and that thing and that thing. Kind of a VR Windows stroke Mac OS experience. So let us know about that. And also, if you have got it or haven't got it, are you excited to get it? And what's your thoughts generally on these awesome updates that we get from Meta for the Quest? It's just unrelenting. They're usually big boy updates, big girl updates, very bad boy level. It never ceases to amaze how much the device becomes more powerful with each update without just selling you another device instead, which is really nice. Wicked. You're watching a segment from the JustVRGaming podcast, and I appreciate it. If you want to get the full context, watch the full episode, and support more content like this, then do check out the full episodes via the links in the pinned comment, description, and any other valid places. And if you're watching on places like Spotify or Apple, don't forget to rate the podcast the highest rating you think it deserves to help more people find it and to encourage the juices to make even more. A subscribe and a like is also a great thing to do if you're watching on YouTube. We appreciate you.